What up, everybody? Welcome to Coffee Hour. My name is Paul Abernathy. I am jacked up on some Java today. And thanks for joining me on Coffee Hour. I love having you here. As always, every morning, getting your morning started, talking about whatever y'all want to talk about in the comments. Me shouting out to you folks, great loyal supporters of the show, sharing it with everybody, letting people know on social media that all electricians should be joining us here on Coffee Hour every morning. I love seeing the familiar faces. Yeah, it's just great to be alive. You wake up in the morning, you look out and you see the glory around you, and you go, dude, I'm glad I woke up today. So, welcome. We're in part two today. We're going to be talking about equipment grounding conductors, kind of looking at some products, having a little discussion. But also remember that you can ask questions during the chat. Just make sure they're kind of germane to the topic. That way we don't go drifting too far off base. But you can always submit your questions to paulabernathy.com, paulabernathy.com. Of course, if you're in our program, you can submit comments. You can use Fast Tracks Interact, which is built into the course. If you're using the mobile app, you can do like Brandon does and submit questions over on the mobile app, which only is available to those that have the app. Can you post on it? It's not for everybody. You have to get our app and you have to register it in order to be able to post. Everything that we do is separate. So Fast Tracks Tube is a separate registration. Trade Hogs is a separate thing. Fast Track Systems is a separate thing. Everything's separate with our company because we have people that purchase products that don't want the other products. So they're just treated separate. Okay, does that make sense? That's how we do things here. Today I'm going to shout out wearing a shirt from J&M. If you want me to promote your company on a show for free just to wear it, send me a shirt. Hell, I'll wear it. This is J&M right up here. And also have a hat from them right up here, up the road. Great contractor here in Virginia. Shout out to them. They do a wonderful job at everything they do. So great family as well. So anyway, welcome to the show. We're going to do some shout outs. Then we'll get into some part two of today's topic. And again, open for discussion. Ask me about equipment grounds. Ask me about all that type of stuff. And I'm more than happy to answer questions on that type of topic if you'd like. So what else should I tell you before we do some introductions, just shout out? So let me know who you are, where you're from, what you got going on. You took a test recently, you passed a test, give you some love, those type of things. Funny thing, I am writing an article today and putting it out, totally off topic for me. It's going to be on our blog. If you don't get our blogs also, you should be reading our blogs. We have some really good blogs. You can learn a lot from our blogs. If you're studying for an exam, you need to go through our blogs because I have great blogs on calculations and all other type of stuff. And I love doing blogs. I love writing blogs, articles. And a lot of them are picked up and used. Feel free to reference them on your company website. You can link to them on your website. You can share my blogs anywhere you want. I'm not copywriting anything. You can use them. Don't steal the content, or at least give credit where you got it, and link back to me. I love to have you link back and show our relationship on your website. And if you don't have a website, you really need a website. I don't care how small or big you are, you need a website or a way to share your content with folks. That's what's so neat about our NFC coffee hour cards, promos, because you can reprogram these. But I realized the other day when I wasn't working that I didn't have it on the right place on my phone. But these are really good to go to a customer and say, hey, if you need any more service from us, tap your phone. And what neat thing that people do is use Linktree. And actually, if you form a network of buddies, when I say network of buddies, if you're an electrician, you need to know a good plumber, you need to know a good mechanical person, a good contractor, and buy them a cup of coffee. Be aggressive. You have to be aggressive today to be successful. If you're just a laid back guy and you're going to be dog eat dog. So I recommend you find maybe you run into them on a job site or something and you've formed a relationship with a plumber. Say, hey, look, tell you what, I'm going to be putting my information on my card. I want to put your information on the card. Use Linktree. It's free. And then you tell the customer, look, when you go there, say, hey, look, I'm going to put this, let me tap this and put this on your phone. You'll have a link to where you can pay us online if you have an online payment system. But also I'm going to link you to this, and this is going to we'll put it on your phone as a quick tap because I have other referrals, a plumber, a mechanical, a builder that I trust. and that type of thing. So, I mean, there's many things that you can do with an NFC type card. So that's the beautiful thing about these cards, is that you put in this information right on somebody's phone or a quick tap, and you can send them anywhere you want, to your website, to your link tree. But you should have a website. You should have somewhere that people can go to find out more information. Because if you're marketing or you're advertising, if you're in business, you're always marketing yourself. Don't fool yourself. Okay, maybe you're thinking I'm fat city, I'm making all this money. No, you're fooling yourself. You need to constantly be marketing, always thinking about marketing. If you're in business for yourself, if you're just working for somebody else, then talk your boss into getting these type of things so you can share this with other people. Okay, the more business you get, more money you make, all that type of stuff. We're always about the hustle, trying to make more money, trying to promote our businesses, doing it ethically, not trying to fool anybody, not trying to sell them snake oil, really trying to promote your business. You should always be trying to do that. You got to hustle today and to make it great. So anyway, give us a shout out and whatnot, but make sure you do that. But that's why we're giving away these NFCs, and I have a very limited number that we'll be drawing for. But you can reprogram it to whatever you want, and I can show you how to do that. It's very easy. Let's do some shout outs this morning to our loyal folks here. Frank's in the house. Good morning, Frank. Glad to have you here as always. Frank's throwing out the hashtag wins multiple times. Thank you, Frank. What's up, Marlon? Glad to have you here this morning. I knew you'd be here, Adam. Good morning. I was telling you about the article. You made me think of it, Adam. The article I wrote is about nicotine and how I'm not a smoker. Nothing against smokers. My mom smoked. She died of cancer. I don't think it was specifically related to the smoking, but I'm not a big fan of smoking. But I understand that people vape, and they're trying to say vaping is bad. It causes all kinds of problems. Well, I have a personal opinion that vaping is a better solution than smoking if you're trying to solve a nicotine fix. And that's usually what we're addicted to. I'm addicted to coffee. Caffeine is just as bad. If you have 5 cups of coffee a day, you're getting a lot of caffeine. If you smoke, you're getting nicotine. I think nicotine, which is actually being used now for stimulant in a lot of things with Alzheimer's and stuff like that as a benefit stimulant, I think it got a bad rap, because smoking has all these other carcinogens and all that stuff. And again, I'm not an advocate for it. Again, I'm just talking. And so caffeine can be just as same kind of stimulant, and too much of anything is whatever. So I wrote an article today. I am certainly not an expert on the subject, but I did research. I was bored. I started doing a bunch of research, and I wrote an article I'm going to be publishing today. It's just basically saying, look, if you're a smoker, I'd much rather you, and I care about you, I'd much rather you do vape if you're trying to get that nicotine. Because you can't believe that you'd want anything other than that. I can't believe you'd want the smoke and the other stuff. So I'm an advocate. It's called being a less harmful advocate. Let's call it that. To use vape to get your nicotine. You buy it in America. Don't buy Chinese imported vapes. Buy it from a reputable American company. Then I believe that it's a safer alternative than smoking tobacco. That's just me. Okay. And that's certainly if you're trying to get that nicotine, and that typically is what everybody's trying to get. So same as why we drink coffee, to get the caffeine. Okay. Or a Diet Pepsi or a Coke or whatever, or Pepsi. We get that caffeine. Because if you withdraw from it, you don't have it for days, I get headaches if I don't have my caffeine. So again, that's a drug. So anyway, it'll be a great little article. I know it's not electrically related, and I know I'll get people that'll be hating on it. I don't care, but I just feel like it was a neat article, and I felt like I needed to write it, and I was in the writing mood, so I did it. Sorry. All right. I'm sorry. I don't know where I went with that, but just another article. What's up, Brandon? I answered your question over on the app. Brandon's using the mobile app to ask questions on there. That's great. Let's see here. Good morning, Paul from down in Houston. Glad to have you here. Let's see where we at here. Josh giving a shout out to Fast Track's Tube, watching over on the Tube. Also, you can watch now on fasttracksystem.com, by the way. Let's see here. What do we got here? Marlon, I finally received my electro. Whoop, whoop. Hold on. You go, Marlon. Congratulations. Well deserved. Get at it, my boy. Make some money. That's what I'm talking about. What is up, Manny? Glad to have you here. You know, folks that say money is not the answer to everything usually have none. I can have all the money in the world, and if you're an unhappy person, you'll still be unhappy. But if I had all the money in the world, I had Elon Musk money, I can make myself happy. Trust me. So the people that say money can't buy happiness usually don't have any money. I'm just saying. Because if you're a miserable person before you have money, you're going to be a miserable person after you have money. I'm just saying. If you're a miserable person, you're a miserable person. If life is always, ooh, always me, or it's always some, my son is a miserable person. My son blames everybody else for his worldly issues than himself. If you're one of those people that blame everybody else for your problems, man, pull up your panties and change your life. I'm just saying. Don't blame everybody else for your problems. You're the only one that can fix your problems. So if you're sitting there thinking, oh, this test is too hard, I can't get my master's license, I can't get my journeyman's license, blah, 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 suck it up, pull up your panties, and get it done. No excuse. Something's in your way, solve it. I know that manufacturers did not like the use of tray cable inside of buildings, other than in a raceway and a cable tray and a messenger. What did I do? I said, piss on you, and I invented a hybrid cable, a cable that brings both tray cable and SER into the same product so that I can change its use no matter where it goes. So they were arguing against me. I didn't cry sour grapes. I didn't go back and say, oh, well, I guess we'll never expand the use of tray cable anywhere. It looks like SER, walks and talks and quacks like SER. I guess we'll never get to use it. Nope. I invented a product that gets around that. Same as Hunter invented a product that solves an issue like wire waffle. Have you checked out wirewaffle.com? That's wirewaffle, hashtag wirewaffle.com. That type of thing. Hopefully Hunter's going to send us some more of these so I can give some more of these away. All of you that are getting all your giveaways, again, sorry, Jeff was out sick, but he is going through your email, so don't worry. He's going to respond. We'll respond back to you and get everything set up and get your stuff all squared away. So don't worry. You're locked in, so don't worry for the first quarter winners. By the way, we're in the second quarter giveaway right there. Hashtag win. Get you in on that spin, that type of thing. So anyway, let's get back to where we are here. The plumber's in the house. Glad to have you here, Mr. Plumber. What's up, David? David's in the house. Welcome. David, glad to have you here. Douglas, welcome. Glad to have you here. Good morning. Charles is in the house. Whoop, whoop. Welcome in the house, Charles. Glad to have you here. Here today. Rob's in the house. Get the code nerd. Let's go. Let's go. Rob's talking about it. This is what I like right there. Rob's got that money, so just make that money. That's what I'm talking about. Jonathan's in the house. Code nerds are mounting up. North Alabama. Let's go. Some of you have my code nerd gear. I think Manny has some code nerd gear. There you go. Throwing that shout out. Sharing the love with Marlon. Again, congratulations. Marlon's throwing it back. There you go. Tom, I believe Tom is in our CMECP program. Sorry, Tom, we've been traveling. We'll catch up on your CMECP reviews. You're doing such a good job at it. I have no doubt you nailed those. So again, we'll probably get to those here today or tomorrow. So get you caught up. Just keep pressing forward. Let's see here. What do we got here? Marlon's down in Florida. There you go. Shouting out where everybody's from. Peter is in the house from New York, New York. Peter's up in New York. Angel's in the house. Angel, Texas, was just out in Texas. Stayed at the Grand Hyatt at DFW. They tried to jack me for $102 for mini bar expenses. Said that the guru drank a bunch of wine and ate a bunch of M&Ms from their damn mini bars. And I was like, hey, you're out of your damn mind. First of all, I don't drink very often. I might have one vodka and orange juice every now and then. I don't drink that often. And I certainly not going to binge. I'm a diabetic. I'm not going to binge on M&Ms. So I said, wait a minute. And they said, oh, our mistake. It was from the people before you. I'm like, how does that happen? Okay. You clear their bill out. Why would you put them on my bill? Anyway, moral of that story is stay somewhere at those big hotels. Always keep checking your bills because you never know what shit they try to slide in on your bill. That's where we're at today. Actually, funny thing, in my phone, I don't know if y'all do this. I have credit cards. I have a business card and a personal. In your mobile app for your business cards or your credit cards, I have a feature that locks the card. So I keep it locked and I only open it up. So I have on my phone, it sends me reminders when I've got a reoccurring bill coming, like Starlink or something like that. And then I will go in and open up and let it charge it the day before, and then I close it back down. I keep my credit cards locked on my phone all the time. I'm just saying, I'm paranoid like that. So it just is what it is. My brother had identity stuff done. John Moser, what's up in the house? John, make sure you reach out to us. You're the one that won the software. So reach out to us so I can get the information to the software guy, all your contact information, your email. He'll get you set up. You gotta reach out to us and follow that video that I posted on YouTube about the winners. You got to follow the instructions in order to get it. Can't just email me. You got to follow the instructions. Okay. But I believe you the one that won the estimating software. What's up, Battles Electric? North Alabama's in the house. Good morning, Edgar. Glad to have you here. Battle's doing sharing some love. Look at that. We got our followers sharing the love. What's up, Erie? Thanks for joining us. Fast Track student in the program. I think y'all are going to be excited about the changes. Have y'all noticed that the Fast Track system, the website itself is quicker, snappier? I don't know if you've noticed that. Same on the tube. Everything's a little snappier. Have y'all noticed it? It's updates that we're making with our server. So again, things are a little more snappier. Over on Fast Track system, it's a little snappier how you get in and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if you noticed. I've noticed. And we're just making incremental improvements all the time. There you go. Joseph, what's up? Up in New Jersey Shore up there. There you go. Adam's saying, so what are you saying here? We are coffee junkies. We have many days over drugs. Yeah. I tell you what, I can tell you when I do not have my coffee, or at least some form of caffeine, I get headaches right here in the lower part of my head down here. I get these headaches. Now, after a couple days, if I don't have coffee, it does go away. I get better. But yeah, shit, caffeine is a drug, just like caffeine, nicotine, codeine, morphine. Hello, all those fiends. But anyway, there's supposed to be some good effects of coffee, but I think there's a point where you can have excess of anything and it ends up going the other way, that type of thing. But you know what? We don't know. We don't know. There's going to become a time when we realize they put out a report. You know those little things that come across? If you were in contact with weed killer, call the whatever law firm. If there's a matter of time before over the TV, we're going to see this crap where it says, if you used Splenda or Sweet and Low or whatever, you can file. Dude, I mean, we don't know what we're putting in our bodies. That's all I can say. So, we're a product of whatever we put in here. And if you never noticed on the and I'm guilty. You ever noticed on the packets of food things now that the portions are getting smaller, okay, but the ingredients list is getting larger. Used to be you could buy a Twinkie. Hello, guilty. A Twinkie, and it was just pretty simple what was involved in it. Okay. Now you can't even pronounce the crap on the label. I'm not advocating Twinkies, but I'm just saying the point is now I can't even pronounce the crap that's in food. Okay, so I am actually a believer that I hope somebody, whether it's RFK Jr. or somebody, starts looking at these things, because there's a lot of chemicals that in Europe are banned, but in the US we just consume, like the dyes and stuff like that are linked to probably why we have a higher risk of things like cancer and other types of mutated diseases that, I don't know. But at the end, we're a product of our environment, and I still stick the damn Twinkie in my mouth, and I still eat it. I'm just saying. But who knows? Maybe the next generation after us will get clean or whatever it is. What's up, Daryl? Thanks for joining us. Glad to have you here. Battle said, that's a safe one there, buddy. Hold on, wait a minute. I got something for that right there. Hold on. There we go. That right there. You can't go wrong being addicted to code, baby. Can't go wrong there. That's an addiction that'll only win. Win, win, win. Winning, Charlie says. Let's see here. Oh, and he goes, and coffee. I see you. Good morning, new place. You found your new place right here with us every morning. Glad to have you here. What's up, Red Dog? It's in the house. I need to, you know what I need? I need a, oh. That's what I need. I need a sound effect on here. Remind me before the show's over. Somebody say hashtag, hashtag sound effect. I need more sound effects for this show. Okay. What's up, Kendra? Good morning. Welcome. Watching over on the tube. Some people are watching over on the tube. I love it. All right. That seems I've got everybody. Don't forget to shout out, share the love. Let us know. Again, share with other people. Do that thumbs up, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Whatever. If you're on YouTube, do what you do. We appreciate you for being here. Okay. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about equipment grounding conductors. If you got questions, feel free to put them in the comments and we'll discuss something. Don't hijack it, Brandon. I know I can already feel you on that keyboard trying to ask a question from one of your database questions. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay? You know what platforms you can use now. I could tell. You already had your fingers hovering over the keyboards, getting ready to type one of those questions in there. I knew it. I could tell. I already could feel you doing that. Let's see here. What up, David? Glad to have you here. I think I missed some. Some came in late. What's up, Cray? In the house? Hump. Well, that was yesterday. Hump day was yesterday. We're on the downslide from hump. What is up, Alex? Man, you're a day behind there, Cray. Dude. Let's see here. Where are we at? Terrence, good morning. Glad to have you here. Man, we got a house full of regulars today. What's up, Rob? Glad to have you here. Carlos is in the house. Glad to have you here. Let's see here. All right, John, make sure you go watch the video over on our YouTube channel so you can follow the instructions on there. That way we follow the proper course of action there, my friend. What's up, Angel? I am doing great. Can't complain. Woke up and, I know this sounds terrible, but I wake up every morning and then I look over, make sure my wife's okay. She is 18 years older than me, in the early stages of Alzheimer's. But I look over and I go, everything's okay. Then I get up and I go let all the dogs out. Okay, I got 3 dogs, 3 little mountain feist. Got little mountain feists. I love my little mountain feist. A yippy little dog, but very loving little dogs. So I got 3 mountain feist. I let them out in the back, let them do their thing, and I get my coffee and I answer emails and I get my day started and reach out to people that I consult for early in the morning. I do that really early because their emails come in to a separate email for my consulting part of the business. And I jump on those right away early so they can get them before they even get up. That way they got their day ready for consulting and that type of thing. And I just get my day started. You know what I'm saying? I am doing good. Thank you. Let's see here. I use the Yucca app to scan food product codes to get information about them. Yucca app. Okay, so again, that's an app that lets you know what's in them. Yeah, I should probably do that. The problem is, the damn Twinkies are just so damn good. I know, but it's going to kill me. I know it is. At the end of the day, I'm going to get a big old tumor from a Twinkie. What's up, Edgar? Thanks for listening. Oh, by the way, for those coffee hour, the podcast, Let's Ask Paul and the Mastering the NEC podcast, we have a couple new episodes that should be dropping today. So Mark that on your calendar. Where do you listen? I listen to podcasts on my mobile phone. And if you have our mobile app, you can listen right through the phone. Both of those podcasts, Mastering the NEC as well as Let's Ask Paul podcast. You can listen right from your phone, you know. There you go. Woof, woof. I'm gonna have to add that. I'm gonna add that to my sound effects. Got my Master card in the mail yesterday. Nepo! Dude! That's what I am talking about. Dude, everybody's killing it. Killing it, dude. If you're in here on Coffee Hour, people in here are killing it, dude. If you're new to the show, you never came here, this is what we do. Okay? If you want to learn about code, you get our programs. You watch our videos. You watch stuff on Fast Tracks too. It's not always just us teaching here in Coffee Hour, although we're going to do a lesson, and there's a lesson in there somewhere. Again, it's more or less just getting our day started, having a conversation, that type of thing. Nepo, congratulations. That's what I'm talking about. David says now he wants a Twinkie. Dude, it's so good. So good. If you think I'm full of crap, folks, hold on. I got to show you this. Hold on. I know you probably was saying, Paul's just talking about a damn Twinkie. I'm going to make you hungry for a freaking Twinkie. Hold on. I ain't lying. There you go. Look at that. I wasn't lying to you. I was throwing that thing down. I'm just saying. What's up, yo? Hadn't been here in a while. Yanni and Nikki over on our YouTube. Thanks for joining us, okay? Hashtag Paul's wife. There you go. I appreciate it. And behind every good man, there's a great woman. Absolutely. 100%. If you're a guy out there and you haven't found that great woman yet, or your significant other, whoever that may be, if you haven't found a great woman yet, you will. And when you do, treat them right. Treat them wrong. Treat them right. Okay? If they show the fact that they love you and they have an invested interest in you, they enjoy you, they enjoy doing things with you, they enjoy your lifestyle, things you do, not one that's complaining all the time when you get started, then, but if you get one like my wife for over nearly 40 years, who have supported me in everything that I've ever done, do not let that woman go. Do not let that woman go. That's why I will be her companion for her life. Till she takes her last breath, I will be there by her side. What's up, Val? Thank you. And that doesn't mean that you may try that out and have to redo that, take two. I'm her second husband. So sometimes you do have to do a double take, triple take, till you find that right one. But when you find that right one, lock it down. I'm just saying, lock it down. Let's go. There we go. What Marlon says, I received my 5 this week. Woo! That's what I'm talking about. Wire waffle. Hold on. I got to have that. Wire waffle. Solve that issue. Make sure you give that guy feedback and let him know you heard it from us. Okay? Let him know you heard it from us. We don't get anything for it. We don't get any sponsorship for it. He doesn't pay us anything. We're sharing the love, and we want him to know that there's people that actually see that on here. What's up, DJ Jones? Good morning from DC. Thank you here. Oh, my God, yeah. Those two. Zebra cakes. Dude, weakness. Total weakness. When I walk through the aisle and I'm looking at them and I see those type of things, I'm like, Jesus. Nepo, oh, I gotta share that. What the Twinkie? No way, I ain't sharing that thing. Good morning, Fernando. Dude, I got the house packed today. Wow. What's up, Carlos? Shout out Edgar for putting coffee hour. There you go. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Edgar. Got Carlos hooked up for coffee hour. We're glad to have you here, Carlos. Glad to have you here. What brand of Twinkie? Hostess. Hostess Twinkies, baby. They get smaller. Did anybody notice that the Twinkies, all those cakes and all are getting smaller, but the price is going up, but everything's getting smaller? You don't notice that? Yeah, it's not just me, okay? And Marla says that's why they're sold out. Are they sold out of the 5-pack? I thought they were sold out of the individuals. Well, you can win one here because it's on the wheel, that type of thing. What's up, Van Man? Man says, been away studying Florida contractor exam. Well, hopefully you'll nail that thing. Oh, yeah. Cream pies, all that stuff that's so bad. Why is everything that is so bad for you so damn good? Oh, I don't know. All right. Thanks for the shout outs, folks. Let's get to the lesson here today. Let's get on it. Again, do some shout out fudge rounds. Yeah. Oh my God. Look, what do y'all do? My blood sugar's already going up just reading the comments, dude. That's the kind of effect that stuff has on me. I can just look at a cupcake and my shit goes. All right, anyway. All right, AC cable. We talked about it. David brought this up the other day. AC cable, which many people think is the old BX. BX, the armor was never designed to be used as an equipment ground. Never was. People think it is, but it never was. And we talked about that yesterday a little bit. But you can see on the screen. So this is AC cable, armored cable. Differs from MC cable. You'll notice that it has the little bonding wire. And this wire touches all these convolutions all the way through the assembly. When you get to the end, you just cut it off. Now, see these little red heads, red hats, insulating bushings? They are designed for AC cable. They are not designed for MC cable. Can you use them for MC cable if you want? I don't care. Go for it. But they're not required. Okay? Section 40 of 320 will require these anti-short bushings to go between the conductors and the armor, but it is not required for MC cable. If you want to use them, that's up to you. It's all. If you want to go over and above the minimum, that's up to you. That's between you and your customer. And if you're an electrical inspector, do not force people to put the anti-short bushings on MC cable. If they want to, let them do it. Don't force them, okay? Because you'll lose that argument if they decide to challenge it and go over your head, that type of thing. Plus, there's a NEMA document out as well that explains this. Just search anti-short bushings and NEMA on the internet, and you'll find it. But here, the armor is used as an equipment grounded conductor. And all you do is remove this conductor when it gets to the end, just snip it off. You don't do anything with that bare conductor, okay? That little bare conductor that runs all the way down through this, okay? Now, you also notice that with AC, that you can tell that you have AC cable because it has a paper wrap around the assembly. Now, it's also going to wrap around the individual conductors and around the assembly itself. That paper we refer to as a jute, okay, and is a flame retardant type of paper. You just remove the paper, you put the anti-short bushing in, and you used a listed fitting that's listed for AC cable. Now, a lot of times the fittings may be listed for AC and MC, okay, and that's okay, but you want to make sure that you're not using an AC listed fitting on a MC product, okay, that type of thing. Also, Felix says that you wrap it around. You can wrap it around if you want, only on AC cable. Now, everybody asks, why is that? Well, because as long as it sits below the convolution, the highest portion of the convolution, like the highest portion here, so it sits in this little groove, then that's okay. A lot of people will wrap it back because they feel like it holds in the anti-short bushing. That's okay too. The problem is people are getting these smart ground type of products that have the larger aluminum conductor. That's an MC product that's used like in healthcare facilities and all those kind of. They get the bigger aluminum conductor. Okay, in the MC, normal MC, the armor can't be used as an equipment ground, but we make a special type of MC, and it will put this aluminum bare conductor in there that does just like this. It does the same as this does for AC, but people are bending that bigger aluminum wire back. That's wrong, because it can't sit in these little grooves. It ends up being protruding past the convolution here. And that means that the connector won't fit on it properly. So you don't do that with the MC cables that have that aluminum conductor. You just cut it off. Well, you can do the same thing for this. Its job is already done. It's touching each one of these convolutions so that instead of the fault current having to travel on the spiral, it goes straight from convolution to convolution, and it increases the odds that your overcurrent protective device will trip. But once you get to the end, its job is really done. So you really can just cut it off. But in AC cable, if you want to wrap it back, that's up to you. Just make sure that this conductor that's bare actually sits down in these little down in these little valleys, and it doesn't protrude past the convolution, because then the connector won't fit properly. And all the connectors have a pull-out rating. Okay, so again, if it affects the ability for that connector to fit on the cable, then it's going to affect the listing. So we want to make sure we don't do that. So I recommend you just cut it off. That's up to you. But when it comes to AC cable, but this armor in AC cable is your equipment grounding conductor. Now, what's interesting is people say, well, hey, Paul, see this one right here that's got the green on it? I go, yeah. And they go, why come this one doesn't have any green on it? And it's still using this armor as an equipment grounding conductor. And the reason is there's no requirement in the code for that to be green. Even if the armor is used as an equipment ground, it's not required to be green. Any equipment grounding conductor, when it's insulated, is required to be green. Or if it's an isolated ground, green with yellow striping. But it doesn't carry over to the armor. Same reason you don't have green EMT or green RMC. When that conduit is being used as an equipment ground. Same applies here. Now, why do some manufacturers put this green on here? Because they're pointing out that this is for use in a healthcare facility. And you're saying, so they make healthcare facility AC cable, not just healthcare facility MC cable? Yep, they sure do. And what causes this to be rated for a healthcare facility? Well, you've got the armor in AC cable due to this bonding wire, this bonding/grounding wire. This contacts all the convolutions, so that makes this an equipment grounding conductor. And then the code in 517.13b requires that you have an insulated equipment ground in there, and that's what this is right here. So now I've got two redundant paths. I've got the armor, that qualifies under 250.118, and then I've got the insulated equipment ground inside of it. That qualifies in 517.13b. So guess what? I got two paths now. So you can take regular AC cable and make HCF AC by just installing an insulated equipment ground in it. But notice the paper is still jute, okay? Still the same, paper wrap, that type of stuff, okay? Isn't that cool? So people still use AC today. It is not BX. It's referred to as BX by many people. It is not. BX went away way back in the early 60s and that type of thing. So it's not around anymore. It's slang. It's not proper slang. We should be definitely using the terms AC cable and MC cable and things like that properly and stop calling it BX, okay? Because again, for those that know, AC was never BX, MC was never BX. BX was its own experimental product that was used for years, and then we realized that armor could not handle the fault current properly when we started requiring equipment grounds. So we started introducing changes to the product, that type of thing. That's a lot of info about AC cable that maybe you didn't know, but now you know. All right, next is MI cable. People go, what the hell is MI cable? You know what I'm saying? People go, what's up, Greg? Got some additional shout outs. Good morning, Charlie. Late, but you're here, my friend. Glad to have you here. Jeff Hall, thanks for joining me, Jeff. Tino, I see you in the house. Welcome, glad to have you here. Better late than never, right? All right, so if any of you ever seen MI cable, some of you probably have never worked with it ever. Now, obviously, the extruded outside sheathing is an equipment grounding conductor. But it's a unique product that many people use it for fire pump applications because it has what's called compressed refractory mineral insulation that is compressed around it, right? You don't really use Romex in BX in islands, Tino. First of all, Romex is just a trade name for non-metallic sheath cable. There is no such thing as BX anymore. You're probably putting it in Greenfield, or you're putting it in FMC, flexible metal conduit. Those are the terminations. It's not really BX. We should really stop using the term BX, really, everywhere, okay? Because, again, that was experimental back, and it ended way back in the early 60s. But, again, it's easy for people to call that. And some manufacturers may still put that name in there somewhere, right? So, again, I get it. You might see it and go, well, why the hell are they using the term BX? It's because they don't know either. Trust me, I work for a large manufacturer, and their marketing team, God bless them, they have to come to me for a lot of terminology stuff. So not always do you have people that's in their marketing and people that make the product cut sheets and all that. They might not know that stuff either. right? So again, that's what propagates stuff out there because people don't know into terminologies, that type of thing, okay? That's why people call things sub-panel when it's really a load center, remote distribution panel, panel enclosure, things like those are proper terminologies, but we've become comfortable with saying things like a sub-panel. One, because we all know what it is. And I guess that's why people call BX, because it's just an easy terminology. But what you're probably using, Tino, is probably using FMC to sleeve it, or you're probably using liquid tight flexible metal conduit to sleeve it. By the way, that's a great topic, Tino. And we should probably talk about that on another chat. Is that a lot of people think that sleeving their non-metallic sheath cable in FMC or liquid tight or LFMC or other adds protection from physical damage. It doesn't. If you actually go look at those wiring methods, FMC, liquid tight flexible metallic conduit, or liquid tight flexible non-metallic conduit, you look at all those products that we sleeve stuff in, none of those are rated for protection against physical damage. Now, does it add some protection? Obviously, if I have a cable and I put something over it, I'm going to add protection. But it doesn't meet the rules. So for example, if I was an inspector and I said, you know what, that non-metallic sheath cable is subject to physical damage, you need to protect it. Putting liquid tight FMC over it, whatever, doesn't necessarily meet the rule, because under those products, you'll notice that uses permitted, .12, or uses not permitted, .12, you will notice that it can't be used where subject to physical damage. And that's the same thing for MC cable. That's the same thing for AC cable. So sleeving it in FMC or sleeving it in liquid tight does not meet that rule. Does it add extra protection? Sure. And maybe an AHJ will let it go because they're like, okay, it does add protection. That's their prerogative. They're the AHJ, right? But when I teach code, it's always little subtleties that I like to bring out to people. And that's probably why that everybody wants me to do our fast tracks in a video format. And that's why we're going to do it, because some people want those little tidbits of information. And in those programs that we're going to be doing, we're going to have those tidbits of information added throughout the video that you can just learn those little things. And so I think that it's going to be a great, I don't think anybody's going to be ever doing a video series. I don't think, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but I don't think that a lot of people that teach in the videos can explain things in the deep nature of the why. And so I'm hopefully going to bring that to you, because that's what I do all the time that I do my video. I try to do that. But anyway, so again, the little thoughts is, yeah, they might be okay to sleeve it, but that doesn't necessarily. Now, putting in something like Schedule 80 PVC, things like that, that would protect it from physical damage. So again, work with your AHJ, but I always like to make that distinction, okay? But thanks for bringing that up, Tito, because that's the stuff we learn from. Bring those things up, guys, just like Tino did, just like everybody does, right? Bring it up. What's up, Ben? I see you in the house. But Tino, appreciate you bringing that up. DJ, everybody bringing that stuff up. That's what all helps us learn. And if you've got these things that are on your mind while we're talking about the topics, that's when you bring them up, because I love to expand on those things. All right, so let's talk about it. So MI, DJ goes, MI equals pain in the, absolutely. Tino says pain in the, I'll do the pain in the. That's exactly what MI is, okay? All right, so MI, if you ever get the pleasure, as we'll say, DJ and I will say, if you ever get the pleasure of dealing with it, that the sheathing on that is most certainly an equipment ground, okay? It's in 332.108, covers it. You see in Article 100, there is a definition for MI cable. It's a factory assembly. You got to buy it this way. It's very fragile, okay, in how you install it. Okay, so assembly in one or more, so it is available with one conductor surrounded with a compressed refractory mineral insulation, or you can get it where there are multiple conductors in it. When it comes to the uses, primary use, I see it used a lot in fire pump applications, although there are many other options that I would use before I use this. Okay, Draka, you're familiar with Draka? That's a product, D-R-A-K-A. It's owned by Prismium. They make a 2-hour rated cable assembly that is basically like this, but it's a little easier to work with. It's expensive, but I would use that before I would mess with any MI. Okay, but that's up to you. But what is it? MI is a factory assembly of one or more conductors insulated with a highly compressed refractory mineral insulation and enclosed in a liquid-tight and gas-tight continuous copper or alloy steel sheathing. I've only seen the copper, to be honest with you. It's the only one I ever, in my experience, ever. DJ, have you seen anything else other than that? I've only seen copper. It's available in single or multi. I see back when I was doing a lot of plan review and a lot of design, it was always used in fire pump applications, although I can think of other ways to do this. And engineers out there, there are other ways to do this, depending on how you route your conductors, that you can get away with not having to do this. Okay, usually the fire pump room is rated 2 hours anyway. There are ways to outside the building to encase, and there are other ways to do that than running this type of cable. But if that's you, go for you. Okay. All right, so this is kind of an example of what you're looking at. So you've got all this stuff you got to be. If you've never seen it before, guys, this is an example of a 2-conductor mineral insulated metal sheath cable. So you've got your thread, your gland, your compress ring, basically just like a compression nut goes down on it and then comes out of it. And you'll see you have your insulated caps, you've got your anchoring bead, all this stuff in order to get to your insulated conductors to be able to make termination. Again, a lot of work though. So a lot of work that you have to go through to do this. So if anybody's ever done MI, you can actually go your entire career and never, ever, ever have to do that. I only had to do MI one time. And luckily for me, it was back when I was really early in my career and I had a mentor who showed me how to do it. And after the first time of doing a couple, I realized, not for me. So, and then I never had to do it again. So, but anyway, there you go. There it is. But yeah, MI is out there. Okay. All right. MC cable. All right. One of my favorite topics. Okay. So MC cable that provides an effective ground fault current path in accordance with one or more of the following. So how does it do this? So how does it establish a effective ground fault current path? To clear an overcurrent device. That's what an EGC is. 2 functions to an equipment grounded conductor. Y'all know this, right? 2 main functions to equipment grounded conductors. Number 1 is to facilitate the operation of an overcurrent protected device. And 2 is to extend the connection to earth and put everything at the same potential of earth. So an equipment grounded conductor does multiple functions, okay? Not only does it provide a low impedance effective ground fault current path back to clear an overcurrent device in a ground fault, whoop, whoop, but it also makes the bonding and everything to earth for ground references and all this kind of stuff all at the same as well. So it does that as well in our system. So there's a lot of people that say, well, why don't we change it to equipment bonding conductor? And there's really no need to do that. Although we get these public inputs every single time, there really wasn't a need. Now, it's getting some traction now in Code Panel 5, but the reality is we have an informational note underneath it that says, oh yeah, it does that too. Say it's equipment ground. It facilitates the operation of an overcurrent protected device. Yes. And there's an informational note that says, oh, by the way, it's used for bonding as well. And it does make that connection and ties all the things together back at the source and all that kind of. So yeah, it does that too. But there's no need to change the name. It's still equipment grounding conductor, right? So, potatoes, patatas, tomatoes, that type of thing. What is that? Tom says a plumber should be able to install MI cable. Hell yeah, that's a great observation right there because of all the fittings and the compressor. They should be experts at MI with all those pieces they have to do. That's a good observation. Yeah, they should be experts at it. Okay, so how do we get that effective ground fault current path in MC cable? All right, well, you let the manufacturers take care of that. It says it contains an insulated or an uninsulated equipment grounded conductor in compliance with 250.118A1. So remember, it can be insulated or it can be uninsulated. There are certain areas of code that requires it to be insulated, like 517.13b. But in general, the equipment ground can be insulated or uninsulated. Now, most manufacturers, I told you, of MC cable, when it comes to the bigger cables, we will do an uninsulated equipment ground. But when it comes to the smaller cables that we run around to branch circuits and things like that, we will typically always insulate the equipment ground. But does that mean it's required to be insulated? No, not for normal MC. But there are applications, isolated ground applications, healthcare space applications, or healthcare area, all those kind of things that you would, in some cases, be required by the code, like 517.13b, to require an insulated equipment ground. But I just want you to know that in general, the reason we insulate that equipment ground in your smaller 12-2s and 10-2s and all that, the reason we insulate it is as a manufacturer's preference, okay? That's why, okay? So, what do we got here? I saw there was a comment. What is it? Hold on here. I think I missed a great comment. So hold on here. Erie says, installed MI on a job for fire pump. Funny thing, inspector didn't pass. The pump is too small. Okay, so did all that and the damn pump wasn't correct. Well, that'll do it. There you go. So what is so special about MI? It's the rating. It's fire ratings. It's 2-hour ratings. It's fire pumps have to have that other assurance, other reliability for survivability. And so being that it's designed in that refractory mineral insulate type of insulation, it's protected from heat. It handles heat better. It has a better survivability. So a lot of areas you'll use that to get the ratings for the 2-hour ratings, not like a 2-hour penetration through a fire assembly, but in an area where you need to have a cable assembly that has a 2-hour rating or something like that. That is where you would use something because of the way it's insulated, the way it's designed. That's why you would use something like that, okay? And in fire pumps in 695, certain areas they're going to want you to have that extra level of reliability. Again, because a fire pump is not to save the building. It's to build up enough time to keep that pump running so that it can allow you to get out of the building. We don't really, if it saves the building, that's great. But in reality, fire pumps and all that stuff is designed to help you get the hell out of the building. Now, the fire sprinkler system that's supplied by that fire pump, if they design it right, it's designed to activate in the area where the fire starts, and that may keep it contained. But the fire pump, as far as the fire pump's concerned, it's like, I don't care. I'm just here to do one goal, and that is to keep my butt running and burn up in order to maybe get you out of the building. That's its function. And so survivability is important. So MI cable, there's other options out there. Like I said, there's something from Draka. They make a cable that's designed for this that gives you that fire rating, that 2-hour. Also, it has to meet a UL 2196 rating, which is that 2-hour, very stringent UL requirement. So if it's required to meet that, MI can meet that. There's a lot of other products like the Draka, D-R-A-K-A. Look that up, Google it. You can find that as well. That can meet that product as well. Hopefully that answered that question for you. All right, so insulated or uninsulated, that's general MC. Remember, there are areas where we have to do what? There are areas where we have to insulate the equipment ground, but in general, you don't have to. The next it says, and it says one or more of the followings. So the next, it says a combined metal sheathing and uninsulated equipment ground bonding conductor of interlocked metal tape type MC cable that is listed and identified as an equipment grounded conductor. You're saying, what the heck is this one? Hey folks, this one right here, that's the Smart Ground products. That's your MCAP from Southwire. That's your Smart Ground products from Encore Wire. That is where we put an aluminum grounding / bonding conductor underneath the armor over top of the binder that holds all the assembly together. So it's basically touching the metal armor all the way. That's that aluminum conductor. That's not your equipment ground. That's the aluminum conductor that's touching the armor. That turns that MC cable, makes it special. And it acts like an AC cable. Means it does not have to have an equipment ground inside of the cable assembly, all your conductors. It's using the armor. That's a special MC. That's not your everyday MC. Okay, so if that's the case, what do you do with that conductor? You snip it off, just like you did with the AC cable. And you use the armor to do that. So if you have that, then that qualifies. The armor would qualify as an equipment ground. That's a very special MC that does that. Not the normal MC. This is a special type of MC. And then when that's done, the armor acts as an equipment ground. Now, the thing about that, it only goes up to a certain size. So you'll only find this type of special MC where the armor of MC can be used as an equipment ground. You're only going to find this special type of MC up to 6 gauge and smaller. 6 gauge and smaller. You're not going to find any large MC that lets you use the armor like that. They don't allow you to make it under UL 1569. It stops at 6 gauge conductors inside of it. But it is very special MC, okay? And then this one says, the metallic sheathing or the combined metal sheathing and equipment grounded conductors of the smooth or corrugated tube type MC cable that is listed identified as an equipment grounded conductor. So there are 3 types of MC. I don't know if you knew this. 3 types of MC. First of all, the 2 we just talked about, those are the most common MC out there. It's called interlock. So it's basically a flat tape, and it runs through a machine that has a little beak on it that makes an interlock, and basically it wraps itself around the cable. So you have a black, a white, and an equipment ground that are twisted together. It runs through a machine, and then it has this machine that it runs through that has this metal tape around it, and it takes this tape and it actually forms it around the conductors as it's going through the machine. And it has this little beak that interlocks it and causes the armor to interlock itself. And that's what causes each convolution to hook onto itself. And that's why they call it interlock MC. That's one type, and that's the most commonly used MC out there. And it's the same process for AC cables, same type of interlock. Now, there are 2 other types of MC, and it's called smooth, and one is called corrugated. Now, the smooth basically is extruded just like you would see EMT. It comes out like a tube, and it's extruded over top of the actual conductors, okay? And if that's the case, you can use that as an equipment ground. You don't have to do anything. You can use that. Very hard. That is expensive, and you don't find that every day, okay? So that one's hard to find. And then you have what's called a corrugated. Corrugated is essentially the same as interlocked, except for it's welded. So it's basically welded together. And if that's the case, then since all the convolutions are welded together, it basically causes the fault current to not have to follow the spiral. It just jumps from convolution to convolution to convolution to convolution, basically just like that conductor that we put in there in the interlocked in order to do that, right? So 3 different products. You have interlocked, you have smooth, and you have corrugated. The corrugated and the smooth, you can use the armor as an equipment ground without doing anything. With the interlock, you can't use the armor on a regular MC as an equipment grounded conductor, unless it's one of those smart products or advanced products. And if that's the case, then it's going to be something like Southwire AP, or it's going to be Encore Wire's Smart Ground type of product. Then you'll see that. Okay? And if you're confused about those products, hey, do me a favor, go to encorewire.com, look under products, and look and see the different products and see how they're constructed. They got great illustrations that shows you the construction of the different conductors and that type of thing. And you'll get the idea. I see you, Manny, whoop whoops, in the house. What do we got here? If you use the armor as an equipment grounded connector, you have to use bonding bushing on the connector. All right, so remember, if you're please, guys, if you're confused, please go back and watch this video when we're done, because I'm not doing a good job conveying this message if you're confused. MC cable, you can never use the armor as an equipment ground unless it's a smart ground type product that has that aluminum bonding/grounding conductor run in it. Other than that, you can never use the armor as an equipment ground on an MC cable. Okay? You with me? If it is one of those smart ground products, okay, then the fitting is listed to go with the armor, and that bonds to the metal box. Then you don't need any bonding jumpers for that scenario, okay? then that is all, it's all listed to go together, okay? Then you wouldn't need anything. For AC cable, the armor is already an equipment grounding conductor in AC cable. If you use a listed fitting, it goes onto the AC cable. They're designed and evaluated to work together. That's why you're required to use listed fittings. So they work together. If they work together, then it can go into, for example, a metal box, and you have no need for a bonding jumper because it's all together. Okay. Now, with that said, you still have issues when you have over 250 volts to ground. You have to be careful on certain applications. You have to be careful whether you have impaired KOs and things like that. Totally different topic. But in general, if you're using an AC or an MC, then you don't have to do any of that. Okay, that type of scenario. Okay. And just remember, MC cable, you cannot use the armor as an equipment grounding conductor unless it is one of the smart ground or the advanced MC cables, okay? All right, just want to make sure, I want to make sure I took an opportunity to make sure I clarified that for everybody, because there's always, go back and watch that type of scenario. Okay, so here's what we're talking about. So here you go, hard to see this picture. I will blow this up a little bit. So here you see right here, here is your interlocked, and here you see this is called a polymeric wrap. This is called a binder. This could be paper, right? This could be paper. This could be plastic, polymeric material. It's, again, the manufacturer's choice, right? And here you can't use the armor as an equipment ground in normal MC, so that's why you have this green equipment grounding conductor. But remember, it does not have to be insulated. This could be bare. But most manufacturers will choose to do what? To make it green, and will choose to insulate it. Okay, it's just standard in the industry. Okay, now this is an example of some corrugated right here. See, so each one of these, this is a unique design on this one. Okay, but again, this can be used as an equipment grounding conductor, whereas this cannot. This could. Okay, this is called a corrugated, and this is a certain type. Okay, don't see them very often. Okay, but there you go. Just a kind of example. And you notice that there's no equipment ground in here. Why? Because in corrugated, this is your equipment ground. But this is corrugated. Don't confuse corrugated with interlock. Okay? Let's see here. Angel's question. Let's see. I have a question. Would you put a bonding bushing on both ends of flex on a transformer? Again, it's totally different than our topic. So you're talking about FMC, which we talked about yesterday. You probably weren't on our episode yesterday. Okay, so flex, the bond, when you say bonding, if I've got a transformer and I'm cutting out these holes, they're usually not a knockout. They're usually, you have to punch the hole. Okay, so if I have to punch the hole, then when you take the FMC and you connect it to the cabinet, then it's already bonded. Okay, that's a bonding requirement. Okay, and you do the other end to the enclosure, panel enclosure, it's a bonding requirement. That's already done. There's no need to loop it through. You're not using that FMC as an equipment grounding conductor. You're not using it as a supply side bonding jumper. You're not using it as that. Okay, you're just using it to facilitate getting your conductors from point A to point B. So if you punch a hole, then there's no need to you to put a bonding bushing and wrap your supply side bonding jumper. There's no reason to bring it in and lay it through the bonding bushing. It doesn't serve any reason. You're bonding that FMC to the cabinet at both ends. It's bonded. You're not using it as an equipment grounding conductor. You're not using it as a supply side bonding jumper. So if you want to put a bonding bushing on it, have at it. Okay, but it's not required to do it. That type of scenario. Okay, now, if by chance you get to the end where you're going to the panel and that type of thing, and you're dealing with impairments, and you have to question the reliability of the connection, that bonding reliability of that FMC to the cabinet, then that's different than down at the transformer. If you're having an issue with that reliability and you happen to be dealing with over 250 volts to ground applications there, then you may need to follow some of the rules in 250.92b for that, even though it's not service conductors, because you'll ultimately be sent back to that type of scenario. Okay, and it's 250.96 as well. Okay, and I can show you that. We can go to the code real quick. Since we're on that topic, I can take you to here. I can take you to that. Show you 250. Let's get down to 96. And I also have a great video on service bonding and all that kind of good stuff. But let's talk about this bonding other enclosures. So typically, we're okay? So raceways, cable armor, and all that kind of stuff are for bonding non-current carrying metal parts are perfectly fine. We don't have any product. As long as you remove any conductive paint, enamels, or whatnot, all that type of stuff is all fine, okay? Now, what you run into is this bonding requirement when you're dealing with over 250 volts to ground, if that's what you have. And that would only be in a 277, 480 type of applications, not a 120, 240 application, right? So if you were dealing with that, then it's telling you, okay, that it says that electrical continuity of metal raceways and cables with metal sheathings that contain any conductors other than service conductors, and they're not service conductors from a transformer up to the secondary conductors up to the panel. They would not be service. They would be feeder style. Okay, they're secondary conductors. Okay, it says shall be insured by one or more of the following methods. Well, chances are you're going to be using a fitting with a shoulder on it that seats tightly against the box or cabinet, such as electrical metallic tubing, flexible metal conduit connectors, and all that kind of stuff, right? So that means you don't have to do anything else, right? Okay. So you know that type of scenario. Okay. So now, if you happen to have oversized concentric or eccentric KOs, okay, and they're not encountered, then you just go with the fitting. So what that means, real quickly, back to me. So that means is if you're going from your transformer up, then you remove all the KOs, use a proper fitting, and you don't have to do anything because you don't have any impairments, right? No impairment, right? But what if you are dealing with the concentric or eccentric and you are dealing with over 250 volts to ground, so a 277, 480, probably not the common thing for the secondary. Usually they're going to be probably 120, 208s, which means that you don't need to do anything special on that side, okay? That the armor with the proper listed fitting to the metal box is done, right? Don't need to do anything extra. But if you do, then the code says you do what? Code says you go look at 250.92b. You ignore B1, you go look at 250.92. So we'll go look at 250.92b. So let's assume you do have over 250 volt to ground applications. Again, that's a 277, 480, for example. Then you go look at 250.92b. So that's right here. And this tells you if you do have those impairments, then you're going to use a bonding jumper, okay? So it says bonding jumpers meeting the requirements of this article shall be used around impaired connections, such as reducing washers or oversized concentric or eccentric KOs. You're not going to use a standard lock nut, okay? So there you go. That's what you're going to be dealing with to do that, okay? Now, if you're not dealing with it, okay, you're not dealing with any impairments, then you have other allowances, okay? So there you go. Now it says standard lock nuts or bushings shall not be the only means for bonding required by this section, but shall be permitted to be installed to make mechanical connections for the raceways and also for the cable assemblies if that's what you're using. So you can have a standard lock nut on there, but that's just mechanical. That's all it can be, mechanical. Okay, now it says electrical continuity at service equipment, service raceways, and service conductor enclosures shall be insured by one or more of the following. Okay. Now you'll notice that this is for service equipment, service raceways, and service conductor entries. Okay, not actually that germane, but because it pushed us back here, we have to follow these. Okay, so we go back here. Then if you don't have any of these impairments, let's say you don't have any of these impairments, right? Then you could use a bonding type lock nut. You could use bonding bushings, okay, with the bonding jumper. There you go. I would recommend, here's my recommendation. Ready? Here's my recommendation for your FMC. If you're dealing with over 250 volts to ground applications, a 277 480 secondary, for example, and you're doing this transformer, you're coming up, then I mean, you may have it on the primary, so it makes sense on the primary. But on the secondary, just in general, it doesn't matter where. If I'm doing this, then I probably would say, okay, I'd probably knock out all the knockouts and use size raceway. And that way I can use the fittings, and then I have no impairments, and I don't have to worry about this rule. But if I didn't have any KOs or eccentrics anyway, then I would probably just use a bonding type lock nut. But remember, only if I'm over 250 volts to ground do I have to even come look at 250.92b. If I don't have that scenario, then I can stay where I was at in 250.96, and as long as it's a listed fitting for that type of wiring method, I'm good to go. I don't need to go putting a bonding bushing on it and looping anything through it. That's a misnomer that people keep doing that. Now, is it going to hurt anything? Absolutely not. If you want to wrap it through the bushing, go for it. But it's not going to help anything. Okay? A properly done fitting on that FMC connected to a hole that you punch is going to be fine. It's bonded. That type of thing. That makes sense? I hope that makes sense. Let me know if any of that doesn't make sense. I'll go over it again. I will. All right, so MC cable, other different issues. So here is a multi-neutral type of MC. So this is a multi-neutral. So here you got you have a black, red, and I'm going to assume a blue, and it's got one white that's for that. And then you got a red, black, and blue, and it has a separate white, this one looks gray. So that's for this one. So there's a shared neutral amongst this assembly. However, there's your one equipment ground. So that equipment ground's used for this circuit, You only need one in this cable assembly, okay? And it's properly sized for whatever the overcurrent device would be based on the use of this cable, based on the size of overcurrent device that you would terminate this conductor in, based on its ampacity, that type of thing. But the point here, you see it right there, okay? This right here is just standard MC with a good old insulated equipment ground. Again, we all know that this could be bare if the manufacturer wanted it to be, but we're always going to insulate these smaller ones. It's just the way we do it. All right, so remember I said the healthcare stuff? Well, check this out. So this right here, so remember the color is not really required anywhere. You don't have to have it. For example, Encore wire, we put labels on it that are green, but that's not a requirement anywhere. I've had engineers contact us and turn down systems for a healthcare facility because they go, the armor's not green, or there's no green marking on it. Other than some engineer out there who may specify that, which means they really don't know what they're talking about, there's nothing also in the healthcare standard that would require that either. So at the end of the day, it's just up to the manufacturer. And it's great for a quick glance. So if I'm looking in an area that's required that redundancy and I see MC cable, if I see that green one, I might be, as an inspector, I might go, hey, it's good. I don't have to look too hard. Whereas if I saw regular MC in there, I'd be like, if that's in an area that requires that redundancy, 517.13a and b, for example, then I might look at it and go, oh, crap, I might have to dig a little deeper, right? So that's the reason that they put the green on there, but it's not required to be on the armor. A lot of people think it is. It's not required. So interesting here you see the armor. Oops, sorry, get you back to the lesson. Here you see the armor is the equipment ground, one path, A, okay? And then inside of, you see there's the insulated. So this is health HCF MC, okay? But it also could be healthcare AC, okay? One of the ways to tell the difference is that if it's AC, it will have paper in here, but don't let that fool you because Encore Wire makes a healthcare facility MC and they use paper wrapping around their conductors. So don't assume that it is AC just because you see paper in it, because it still might be MC. That's why we do put labels on it for that clarification, okay? All right, so you'll see that there, right? And then of course this one is right here, A. So A and B, both these two right here, they have, in this case right here, you see the armor qualifies, and then of course, they have this down here as well, okay? And also, what you're gonna see in here, if this is MC, you'll also notice that it'll have a larger aluminum grounding / bonding conductor that runs in here. And all you do is you bend that sucker back, cut it off, right? You don't lay it back here on MC. You don't take that bonding on the smart products or the healthcare facility. You don't take that bare aluminum and you don't wrap it back. You cut it off. You're done with it, okay? Here it is. See it right here? Same scenario right here. Okay, there's that aluminum conductor right here. See it? It's kind of shiny. You bend this thing back right here, snip it off just inside the convolution so that the connector fits on it good. Also, by the way, you use a special connector for any of these smart products like healthcare facility or these smart like Southwire AP, not your normal MC. The smart products like Southwire AP or Uncle Wire's Smart Ground. You use a special connector that is listed. It's called MCI-A. The A, you can remember that as A for armor, meaning we're using the armor as an equipment ground, or you can think of the A as advanced. So it's not like your normal MC where you can't use the armor. This is advanced products where you can use the armor. So if that helps you remember, just make sure your fitting has MCI-A marked on the box wherever you get it, that type of thing. Bridgeport makes a lot of fittings. Thomas & Betts makes a lot of fittings, things like that. All great companies make great fittings for any of these products, okay? All right. And the same thing as this one down here. So this is regular MC, but the moment they put that aluminum conductor in there, now it makes this armor an effective ground fault current path. Right? And so there you go. So that becomes a smart product, okay? Or an enhanced product or advanced product, that type of thing, okay? Take a little time to learn the different products and go on the manufacturer's websites. You know, if you really have questions about MC cables and stuff, go to the manufacturers, look at their product sheet, look at their cut sheets. You'll be surprised at all the stuff you can learn. All right, so there you go. So see that right there? See that grounding / bonding aluminum conductor right there? Snip that thing off, get rid of it. Okay, that is a smart ground product. That is an MCAP from Southwire product. That's where you're using the armor as an equipment ground. That is not normal MC, because normal MC will not have this aluminum conductor in there. Okay, it will have an equipment ground run with it. That's typically in these smaller sizes. It's going to be green. Yes, I'm being redundant, but I'm doing it for a reason. Okay, so if you have a bare aluminum inside of your MC, then you want to, and all the conductors are copper, then you want to snip this sucker off. Okay, and make sure you snip it off just inside the footprint of the armor so that it doesn't impede the fitting that goes over it. You with me? I get so many emails from people that say, "What do I do with that smart ground? What do I do with that aluminum conductor?" Cut it off. And to make things simple, if you got the AC products, it's got the smaller, like the 18 gauge conductor in there, the aluminum, cut it off. Just make it common to whether you're using the smart products for MC or you're using the AC products where you're going to be using the armor. Make your life simple. Just cut it off. You don't need it. It's done. That type of thing. Okay? Now, this over here, notice that if this was MC, you would think see these little red things in here? Let me zoom in on here. Y'all think these are redheads. Here's a misnomer by a lot of people. They think these are redheads, okay? These are not redheads. These are insulated throats. They just happen to be red to call it out because these are multi-listed fittings. They're listed for AC cable, they're listed for MC cable. In many cases, they're probably listed for MCI-A, which is the advanced type of MC, interlocked MC, where you're using the armor as an equipment ground, right? So again, those type of scenarios. But that is not an anti-short bushing. That is actually built into the fitting, folks. Because you would not see the anti-short bushing from the inside of the fitting if you used it properly on the inside of this armor. It would be up in here somewhere. You wouldn't see it down here. So don't confuse these as anti-short bushings. They are not. They are what we call insulated throats that are inside of the fitting. Dude, y'all are learning stuff every day here on Coffee Hour. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So in this case right here, you notice you don't see any equipment ground coming in at all, right? So what does that tell me? These are smart MCs. These are advanced MCs. These are like this one over here, which had this aluminum grounding / bonding connector in it. They snipped it off. They used a proper MCI-A fitting, and it comes into the box. This fitting is listed for this application, and they don't have to bond this metal box to this armor. It's done through the fitting. That's a beautiful thing. Why is that a beautiful thing, folks? Because that means I ain't got to take an equipment ground and connect it to the metal box. Just guess what I've done? If I have a building that's a multi-story building and I have all these metal boxes, dude, you know what I've done? I have saved myself so much freaking labor making all those connections to the metal box. Now, I might have to have a equipment bonding jumper from that box over to a device of some type, unless I'm using self-grounding devices. But at the end of the day, think of all the labor that you can save if you're being redundant and you're doing thousands of boxes in a 20-story building or 30-story building. Dude, if your company's not using the smart product, it adds up. So you're buying standard MC. You might pay a little bit more for the smarter type of MC, but guess what? If you add up the amount of labor and all those connections in those boxes, I'm just saying, dude. And if you're doing receptacles and you're using self-grounding receptacles, dude, it adds up. We've done studies on the amount of time that it saves. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Smarter, not harder. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. This is the armor. This is your corrugated. And this is a unique one. Not all of them are made like this, but you'll notice that this armor qualifies in the equipment ground, but you can also notice because it does not have any equipment ground run with it. Okay, so that type of thing. Adam's shouting out, I have gone over again, guys. I get so excited, I can't help it. I just get into it. All right, so the next we'll be talking cable trays. Tomorrow we'll be talking about grounding cable trays, and we'll round out this equipment grounding stuff today. Let's go on and do some giveaways real quick because I am over. Let's spin the wheel and let's do some stuff and get you on the list here. Do me a hashtag. Again, Brandon says, win the yoke. Not always. It has to be a self-grounding type receptacle. In other applications, because again, it depends on the use. You have to go to 406, read all that. We cover this extensively in our Fast Tracks program. Okay, so not always, again, if you don't have a self-grounding receptacle, then you would have, and if you take that equipment ground over to the device, but the code says you have to bond the box. So there's stuff you have to do. So if I'm going to go to the receptacle, for example, and I'm not using a self-grounding receptacle, then you could have a problem because there may not be any intimate connection between the ground connection on it to the actual strap, which you might have an isolated ground receptacle. So there's all different nuances that you have to be aware of, that type of thing, okay? But if I have that smart product and I bring it into a metal box and I use a self-grounding receptacle and I connect it to the box, then I'm done, that type of thing. You get what I'm saying? All covered in 406, and maybe one day I'll cover all of that for grounding and bonding. We'll cover receptacles and connections and all that kind of stuff. But go check out article 406 for receptacles, and also make sure that you check out those requirements for the bonding as well and in NEC, and I'll take you to that real quick so I can give you a place to look and give you a place to kind of study, if you will. Let me take you to, real quick, here we go, right here. So I'm going to take you down here to 250.120. You'll have all these rules. There's 122, okay? And for sizing, and hold on, let me go further. We don't need that one. All right, equipment grounding conductor continuity. What you have to do at switches, and here's at devices, and here's your connections for equipment grounding connectors at 250, 130, right? And all of those little rules that are down here, okay? All of it right here. There you go. All of those are going to be right there at 250, 130 through like 136. Read those. And then don't forget to go over to 406. I'll show you that just so you can show you where to go look. And we'll cover that on future code references here for coffee hour. But we'll go down here. Let's see here. Here is 406.11, connecting receptacle grounding terminals to box. Okay, the connection of a receptacle grounding terminal shall comply. And there's your 250, 146 reference. So I'll show you that. Connection of receptacle grounding terminal to an equipment grounding conductor. There you go. And here's your allowances if it's a surface mounted box, what your allowance is. And again, direct metal to metal contact tells you, again, there's your yoke question, right? And it gives you some allowances down here, right? And then here's a contact device and yokes, okay? See where I said self-grounding? Okay, you have some allowances there. So a lot of it's going to depend, Brandon, whether or not you have a self-grounding receptacle or not. So note those down for your studying. Go look at 406.11. Go look at 250.146. Go look at 250.130 through 136, and all those type of things. Okay, and those are going to be beneficial to you. Okay. All right, and maybe on a future coffee hour, if somebody suggests it over at paulabernathy.com, we'll cover grounding and termination in boxes and switches and all that stuff in 404. As well as 406. Those are the references for switches, for 404, 406 for receptacles, for example. And we can tie all the grounding into it if you want. But it's extensively covered in our Fast Tracks program, as well as our grounding and bonding course, which you may get in the drawing for right now. So let's go on and spin the wheel. Let's go. Let's see what we get. Love to do me some giveaways. Whoop, whoop. All over the place. Edgar, let's go. I'm jacked up on coffee today. So it's one thing about caffeine. Whoop, whoop, gets me going. All right, so Ohm's Wheel coin. You're in the drawing for the Ohm's Wheel coin. So that is awesome. Neatest coins out there. Pass them on to your apprentice, to your journeyman, to your master. Have a thank you. We have all types of inspection coins. We have this ultimate decision coin, which is, by the way, my favorite coin. Y'all have heard me talk about that coin. I let it make decisions that I don't want to make all the time, because I asked my wife, where do you want to go to dinner? She goes, I don't care. Where do you want to go? I'm like, I don't care. Where do you want to go? So I'm like, okay, you have a favorite restaurant. I have a favorite restaurant. We have some other restaurant like McDonald's, which is easy on my wallet. And I said, let's let the coin decide. So I'll say, okay, your favorite or my favorite? We'll flip it. That type of thing. Or McDonald's in this restaurant. We'll flip it. That type of thing. Just saying. All right, let's see here. All right, Edgar. All right, let's spin us again. Let's go. Hashtag win. Let's go. Cutting into my lunchtime today. Fernando's in the house. All right, Nepo. It pays to hang around, I'm saying. Nepo's in the house. And conductor length card. And these are not the cheap little cards, guys. These are heavy duty cards. Look at the thickness of that thing. It's going to last in your wallet. And it's good. And it also adjusts for the temperature, because that can affect the amount of wire you still have on a reel. People just think that they can do an ohm meter, measure it out, and that it's always going. No. This card will actually adjust for the temperature to give you a more accurate result on how much wire may be still on your reel, how much NM may be still in a coil, how much cable may still on a bigger reel or in a box, or like one of those Pull Pros that we have at Encore. This is a neat card. Good giveaway too. So anyway, you're in the drawing for that, Nepo. So good luck to you on that. You can also buy all these things over on our store. Just go to Fast Tracks system.com. You'll see us link to our store if you want one now. You can't wait. You can't see if you win or not. You're like, I gotta have that now. Shout out to J&M up in Richmond, Virginia. Whoop, whoop. People are disappearing right now. Why are y'all leaving so quick? Y'all don't like my giveaways? What the hell's wrong with you? Great is in the drawing for the knife. All right. Now here's the good thing, Frank. The drawing's not till June. The new knives that we've got coming out with, they may arrive before then, because obviously we're importing them, and I'm creating a design for those. If you win, I will give people the option to get the mini knife, which is these little mini knives right here, or the full size knife. I'll give you the option. How about that? But until then, we'll see if you win. Okay. So again, I'm in the giveaway mood today. Coffee has got me jacked. Let's go. All right, Frank, I got you down, brother. I use these mini knives every day. I have one just like this. It says electrician on it. I have this on my keychain. I use it to open boxes all the time. It is. All right, Peter, you have one of our very rare. We don't have very many of these that we'll be giving away. You are registered for our NFC promo card. So the NFC promo card, it's going to be a coffee hour promo. It's going to have all kinds of links to all of our stuff on it, but you can reprogram this to put your own company, your own Linktree account. There's many ways you can use this with your customer. If you win this thing, we will show you how to do all that kind of stuff. So it's awesome. Okay. I do. Oh, Paul reminded me of my whoop whoop. I gotta get a dog whoop whoop. So I will do that. I made a mental note of that, Paul. Paul reminded me. Paul is always on top of it. Thank you, Paul. All right, Peter, I got you for that NFC promo. Those are going to be neat. There's very limited number of those we're going to be giving away. Okay. There you go, Red Dog throwing it up. We're going to call it the Red Dog. Whoop, whoop. I'll find it. I'll find that sound effect. Pays to comment. I'm just saying. Paul Montoya is no relation to Tony Montana. You know what I'm saying? All right, so let's go here. You won. All right, you already have a tube subscription, I think, right? Oh, you got two options. We'll extend you for another year or extend you out from wherever you're at another year, or we can spin the wheel again and you can get on one of the goodies. There are other goodies on there, guys. I'm not lying. I'm looking at the wheel. There is conductor length card on there. There's the ultimate decision coin on there. There's 3 courses on there. There's waffles on there. The knife is still on there. I'm just looking. Let's see here. Ohm's Law coin is on there. There's a bunch of stuff on there. So I'm just saying. So let's go. Also, by the way, folks, we have a lot more goodies, hats. I got a funny little electrical engineer, master electrician hat coming out. That's kind of neat. All right, Paul, you're in the drawing for the mini knives or the full-size knife, whatever, when it comes out. So you're in the drawing for that. Congratulations. That type of thing. All right, let's do this again. Let's go. We got 2 more giveaways. Hashtag win if you think you're not in. Hit that hashtag win real quick. Just to lock you in. You don't see your name. Then, and that is going to be a hot commodity because the hog is getting smarter. 2.0 is rolling out here shortly, and it's going to get even smarter. So, trade hog. And remember, folks, if you play with the hog, all you got to do is go to tradehog.net. Ask it a question and then ask it a follow-up question to the question you just asked. Ask for it to clarify. Maybe pick something out of its response and you say, can you give me more detail on this? Remember, feed the hog will give you results and it learns every time. So again, don't give up. Feed that hog. Let's go. Hashtag feed the hog. All right. So let's go here. There you go, Ben. You're in the drawing for the hog. Let's spin again. Last giveaway, folks. If you didn't get on this spin, don't worry. Come back tomorrow. We'll spin again. You'll get it. Just keep coming back. Hopefully you came to get your day started. I got you late to the day. Douglas Webb, you are in the drawing for the NFC. That drawing is June 30th. We will definitely get it. Look at Paul says, say something, win something. That's the secret to the squeaky wheel. That's what I'm talking about. All right, folks. Hey, I appreciate all of you for joining me. Hopefully you get your day going. All your juices are flowing now. You're out there going to make some money. Reach for success in everything you do. Don't cut corners. Don't use the phrase, I can't see it from my house, because everything you do is a reflection on you, your credibility, your character. Always try to do the right thing, even when somebody's not looking. Take care of everybody else. Teach somebody something. If you see somebody that's struggling, don't keep walking by. Stop and help. Let them know. Ask them if they need help. Spread the knowledge that you learn here on Coffee Hour, that you learn in our program. Make sure you train your apprentices and your journeymans if you're a master. If you think you're not an educator, you are. Make sure you train them the right way. Don't talk about urban legend. Don't talk about myths. Make sure what you share with them, you verified, that you've asked about, that you can quantify. We don't want to share misinformation. We want to learn the right stuff. And that's what all about here on Coffee Hour, is learning the right stuff. All right, folks, you'll join me tomorrow. We're going to close out this equipment grounding conductor thing. We're going to look at cable trays, some unique applications with cable trays that you may not have known. We're also going to talk about when you run parallels of cable assemblies in a cable tray, and something unique when it comes to equipment grounds. And we're going to wrap this out tomorrow on Friday. We'll catch you tomorrow, folks. Till next time, stay safe. God bless. I appreciate you all for joining me. Peace.